So I'm gonna say that again because you seemed very excited about what I just said. So I have spoken to a couple of people like this now that were sports coaches. One was in golf, one was in football. I knew a cricket coach as well that have all decided to become ADHD entrepreneur coaches. Two of them are based online, one of them is based in person, and they are using, well, two of them are using ecological dynamics and psychology as an approach to coach said people, ADHD entrepreneur coaches, clients, and one of them is or was a very traditional sports coach and is now coaching these entrepreneurs, these ADHD entrepreneurs. How they are defined, I don't know. I am still in the midst of discussing with these people what it means. But yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts.
That's fascinating and kind of makes sense. Because as I've been so something I've been working on is just trying to adjust my positioning slightly. Because a lot of what I've been talking about, like when I've been doing content or marketing, is about the approach itself, which is fine for conversations like this. But when it comes to like the actual practical implementation, as we were chatting over last week or the week before, don't remember that, week before, um, it's not, no one cares. As long as you get to the end result, and like it's a practitioner's approach versus a theorist's approach. But as I was like kind of thinking through the ideas, and one of the things that so I have been training my AI bots to argue more
Mm-hmm.
because they are very much passive and oh yes, your idea is the best idea that's ever existed. You are revolutionary. I'm like, no, well, yes, but also not that revolutionary. Like, let's turn it back. Let's remain critical and practical. Let's just not blow smoke up my ass because that's not very useful. That's not very helpful for critical thinking. So I have been training the bot around that. And one of my blind spots is just to talk about the science. I hide behind the science
Mm-hmm.
because it's fun.
A lot
And
of people do that. I've seen it. Sorry to cut you off there. I've seen there's a coach on YouTube that is talking about the science, but they don't really address a problem.
yeah.
They sort of
And so,
say, here's the science, do this thing. But I didn't
yeah,
have a problem in the first place, so why should I
yeah,
do that thing?
yeah, exactly. And it was really interesting. So I was like, what do I set? Like, how do I position myself? And one of the things that I was pushed back on multiple times was my pricing because it's fairly low.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be charging premium prices. Like, you should be charging much more because what you're doing is high-end coaching. And I'm like, yeah. But I don't care about, like, I don't want to work with elite practitioners. I could, I think we've had this chat before. Like, I could move people 1%, tiny little incremental things in that kind of sports coaching. But actually, when I work with my ADHD and ADHD and neurodiverse and people who just think differently, aka most people, if not everyone, it's really interesting because the changes that happen are big. And so I'm wondering whether that's why, like, just making a bunch of assumptions about these people without having any additional context, but like, maybe that's why, because that's what attracts me to the sports science, not because I want to become an elite practitioner. And there are coaches who do elite coaching and all of that stuff, like high performance coaches. That's the word I was looking for. They
Mm-hmm.
use sports, like sports science and sports psychology and all of that. But I'm like, well, what if I could bring the sports science, like the ecological sports science and skill development and all that lovely stuff, to just the normal, average, neurodiverse individual?
I wasn't expecting it to go this way, but this is the way that I approach the conversations, which is very similar to what we discussed last week. Um, I am, the way I would describe myself is a professional grassroots coach. I'm not a performance coach.
Mm-mm,
I'm definitely not a high performance coach.
mm-mm.
When you look at performance through the lens of sport, i.e., competitive, normally is the same as performance. I don't think it is, but it's the way people perceive it. You say performance, you think competitive.
Yeah,
I don't think of performance as competitive, but that's how most people think of that. High performance is you're looking at your 0.1% of your athletes, the ones in the Premier League and the NBA and all those. Yeah, I have no interest in those. But that's where people have the interest. Then there is the 99% of everyone else. And the 99% of everyone else, well, let's say 98%, are grassroots. And the grassroots people often don't get effective coaching. I don't want to say professional coaching because professional has lots of other words associated with it. Because you could be a professional coach but unpaid. You could be a professional coach, like I say, that's a volunteer or a paid, and then you can have a professional coach that's got loads of qualifications, but it's actually awful because they're useless at coaching. They're just really good at passing the exams or the tests, or they have access to tests, or maybe they were a pro athlete and then they skipped three qualifications because they're a pro, they know what they're doing, and then suddenly they're a UEFA A. Yes, I'm calling out football right now. Um, oh, you played semi-professional football. You must know how to coach. No.
no.
Uh, so they're not professional. They are actually worse than some of the grassroots coaches, I would argue. But hey, that's another discussion. So when I look at these sorts of things, I look at the type of coach, the category, I guess, that you'd put them in, and grassroots coaches, if we're going to use that, often are volunteer. Like 70% of the UK coaching force is volunteer. And the 30% that are paid, 5% of those are high performance professionals, and the other 25% work in football academies. Like,
Yeah.
well, that was an exaggeration. It's probably more like 15% of those work in football academies because there aren't many other paid coaching positions in the UK, but apart from obviously the 5%, which is the professionals. But it means grassroots coaches are volunteer. And this is where I think, correct me if I'm wrong, entrepreneurs will be more likely to pay than children or adults that are doing a sport.
If you get the positioning of your work right, yes. And this is this is why I find this really fascinating because of course positioning is something I am currently really working on because people still see me as the tech person for a lot of things, which is fine because I do help with implementation too. It's part of the process because you can't have action without action.
Yep.
Got to do a thing. But yeah, so a lot of what I've been thinking of is how do I strip back all the science over intellectualization of everything that I'm doing and go, what is who am I really wanting to talk to? Like, who do I really want to help? I want to help people who build a business because there wasn't another choice for them. Like that is literally I don't even want to work with entrepreneurs because entrepreneurs are really weird. They're
Well,
overly
that's both of
driven.
us.
Yeah, yeah, I know. But I don't I see myself as a business owner. I own a business. I don't see myself as an entrepreneur, which is
Okay, what is the difference owning a business and being an entrepreneur?
so I think the difference to me is entrepreneurship has that like grind and hustly mentality. Like the business is always at the forefront of their focus. Like it's all the time. It's all they ever think about. There's no real I know yeah, yeah, I know. I know. Well, yeah, fine. I could be perceived as an entrepreneur. Fine. They usually have multiple things on the okay, fine.
This is why we have these conversations, because challenging terminology and
It's
labels.
so interesting because like in this conversation, I am an entrepreneur. Like we both are because
Mhm.
we have the kind of. But outside of that, I wouldn't be. Like, I don't perceive myself as an entrepreneur because I just run a business helping people.
But why can't you be an entrepreneur doing that?
I mean, I can. I just don't like the label.
What is it about the label that you don't
It is
like?
the connotations attached to the label. It
Because
is the
when you said hustle culture, I'm like, hustle culture. People in corporate hustle loads.
That's true. That is a very good point.
Like I know quite a few people that have traditional jobs, 9 to 5 jobs that are burning out. I mean, you can look at teachers as a perfect example. Like
Yeah.
anywhere, they work more hours than they should. They hardly have lunch breaks because they're working through the lunch breaks. I know a teacher at the moment in a school. They're meant to be doing a 9 to 5 job. They do a 7 till 7, 6 days a
Yeah.
week. Like, and they'll be doing that until September because they've got to prepare for everything. And they're in a primary school. So, so they're going between all of this admin work, the teaching work, and then suddenly have to like scrub a table to get rid of like pen that's been drawn on it with the hand sanitizer they've got in their bag that they've remembered because that's better than the actual cleaning products, which is a whole other story. But they work far too much, and they're in a traditional job. And then I'm the entrepreneur that's meant to be doing the hustle culture and go 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 grind grind grind, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sat here not.
I don't know about that. I don't think because your calendar is insane.
Yeah, but I'm sat here talking to you because we can. Like,
So
what am I getting from this conversation for the business or any of the businesses, if you
okay.
can't call them? I don't know.
This is this is a place for exploration of ideas. So that in itself helps with the business because as you're exploring these things, it's giving you ideas or ways of changing what you do in all of the businesses. Two, this is part of your marketing as such for your two channels because Coach Danny and your Danny Hatcher channels almost kind of sync into this.
So on those 2 points, first one, marketing. People go from those other channels to this one, not the other way
Yes.
around.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very true. Yeah.
Um, so this doesn't really help market those. But yes, they are related. It's just things I am doing.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the ideas, I wouldn't say I have, like, I definitely haven't made any content specifically coming from the conversations. So
True.
there's no content coming from the conversations. The behaviors that I've adjusted from these conversations is exactly the same as when I met up with a friend last Tuesday for lunch. Like it's the same thing there. Like they suggested doing XYZ thing, and I will probably do ABC instead of XYZ. But it was a conversation, and so that's how I see this. I don't see this as work or business. I see this as social.
Oh, fascinating.
But obviously, ecological dynamics, the way that we would describe things, it's not finite times. We
Yes.
have the start and then the end because the conversations are inevitably linked because we are organisms that are ongoing throughout time. So, yes, it will relate to work, but if I was to timestamp, rise, categorize my app that's currently open and working, I would say this is social rather than work or personal.
So what would you denote as work then?
If I am writing in Obsidian, is work.
Mhm.
If I'm working in Excel, is work. If I'm responding to emails or any other uh, communication because I've got like Slack and Discord and WhatsApp and all the rest of it. If I'm responding to any person that is from work-related situations, i.e., someone from Trampoline, a coach that's inside of the coach development field, or someone that I'm researching for, anything like that, that would be classed as work. If I'm responding to family, that is a personal communication. If
Yeah,
I'm
that makes
responding to
sense.
you, I would also say that's a personal social situation, unless the context is work, like help with my website, it broke. Uh, so
Yeah, website break.
yeah, like so my calendar, even though it can look very busy from the outside, it is split with the frame hours. I know which frames are work and which frames aren't.
And yeah, I suppose that makes sense because your calendar is quite like unlike mine where I have the larger blocks. Whenever I found myself like cutting it down to the smaller chunks, that was it for me. Like I could not see us from anywhere. Like I was stuffed because it's like, oh well, I haven't fit it within this gap, which means do I need to move everything? Like I need to work incredibly fluidly. I'm like, oh, I had a little bit more time here because I had to go off and get a drink and do all these things. Like kids grab me for an hour for whatever reason, need to put out some fires for home stuff, not literal fires, but like that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And so the granular task management is gone for me because it was just not. I spent more time playing with the tasks than I did doing the darn thing.
This is where I have found it really interesting speaking to people that use Morgan that don't use the AI planner. Because without the AI planner, I don't think I'd be able to do the granular task management the way I do.
Hmm.
And the reason I say this, I mean, I'm just going to look at my day to day. Like, I will probably be going out after this. And what I did is I created an event and dragged it down. And then
Hmm.
Morgan said, what do you want to do with all these tasks that you're now not going to do? And I just went, well, unschedule them all. So they've all gone from my calendar because there was a conflict there. And I know that tomorrow, when I push the AI planner button, those tasks that need to get done will be thrown in Monday at a time that's available, or it'll be suggested on Tuesday, and I'll see actually, this is after the due date, you need to do it before, and so I need to rearrange things. And I can make tasks flexible or not flexible in the calendar. So when it does reprioritize with the AI planner, it moves things around appropriately. Like I can see on my calendar now, I've got sign up for BSL level 2 because that email came out on Monday. That has been jumped next day, next day, next day, the entire week. And I've seen it jump next day, next day, next day, because I had not done it. And it's not high urgency, it's just been there. It's a 5-10 minute task I've just not got around to doing that's been on my day every day. But something else more important because of the AI Morgan's priority factor has said, hey, there's more important stuff, which obviously makes sense because due dates and importance has come up. And I've just gone reprioritize with the AI planner. So it throws it the next day, throws it the next day, and now it's on
It
Sunday.
might be time for me to re-explore. Like, I see what happens if I did go back to granular and whether, like,
I'm not trying to sell you on it. I'm just
yeah,
saying.
no, I know, but it's a very good point because at the moment, there's no need for me to use the AI planner because my tasks are broad, so they're almost frames in themselves.
Hmm.
So maybe it's time to like reverse it and frame it and use the frames more and then have the granular steps of that process inside there again. That might be quite interesting to try.
And something else that I've noticed is because obviously I'm using frames, I know what my ideal week is,
Mm,
ish, ish. And when I reprioritize with the AI planner, sometimes I get to Thursday or Friday, and then it will jump to like Monday, Tuesday, and I look at it and go, what? What am I putting over there? Why do I need to go all the way to next week? And that's where I've just not realized that I'm actually overblocked myself, which happens quite regularly. And I look at my calendar and go, oh yeah, I actually need to get that done, but I don't have time to do that before the weekend because it's a work task, like a Morgan task or something. And that's where I go, oh, I actually don't want to be doing that task, or actually I could probably move that one over there. And that's the AI planner telling me because I'm reprioritizing with frames. If I wasn't reprioritizing with frames, I would probably just block out my Friday and do nothing else on Friday or move it to Saturday, which I don't want to do.
mm,
So I'm managing my time more carefully
mm.
because I can see Morgan AI being like, hey, do you want to do that next week? No, I don't want to do it next week. Why are you? And that is another flag
So
as well as all the other things.
what does your frames look like now? I'm now just very intrigued at like how you have framed your frames.
But yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to actually bring up my week. But yeah, so from 9 till 11, I have a Morgan frame, which brings a Morgan task list in. So Morgan tasks, a task list called Morgan, then a Notion database for Morgan tasks, then a Google task list called Morgan. Tasks from any of those sources could go in that Morgan frame from 9 till 11 every morning from yeah, 9 till 11 Monday to Friday. Saturday morning is different. I have a trampoline frame from 9 to 11, which is the Morgan task list trampoline. Like, no, not too complicated. Then on a Sunday in the morning, so around this time, I have a record video frame. So if we're not doing the podcast, I'll record videos in this time. And that's on my events calendar rather than my task calendar. So family can see that I'm either recording videos, so don't come in here, or in a podcast, so don't come in here.
Mm.
Uh, that's in the morning, well, from 9 to 11. Then I have my inbox frame, which is from 11 till 2.
Hmm.
Now it's 11 till 2, but I have lunch 12 till 1 and wash up 1 till 2. So most of the time it's actually just 11 till 12. But if lunch is short, or I'm not going to do the washing up, or I'm doing something else, then other tasks could be put in there. And these are just task lists from my Morgan inbox and my Google Task inbox. Uh,
So talk like your inbox.
uh-huh.
'Cause I still don't use my inboxes. I'm always pre-sorting before I put anything in. And like I'm just like thinking about that as I go. Maybe that's what's stopping me from putting tasks in, is I'm adding a step in between versus just going, I'll just do the thing.
So I have two inboxes, technically three inboxes. Um, I'll go through all of them. So the when I'm adding a task on my computer, it goes into my Morgan. If I know what it's going to be, i.e., trampoline related, deaf community related, or Morgan related, it will go into those task lists. If
Mhm.
I'm not sure, I don't bother thinking about it. I just throw it in. A lot of the time, that is where I need to do this thing. I'll do it at like 8 o'clock. It's going to take 10 minutes. So I will type on my computer do thing, 9 p.m., 10 minutes, due date, Saturday, enter. Like full stop, SA, go to Saturday, enter, and then it will schedule it on the calendar, and that will go into my task inbox. If I get it done, I never see it again because I've done it. If I don't get it done and it gets rescheduled and rescheduled, or maybe it gets unscheduled because of the AI planner conflicts, it then gets caught in my inbox check, which I do at the end of the day. So I have a saved task filter which I go to at the end of the day. It's a recurring task list at the end of the day to shut down the day. I will go in there and it will show me all of the tasks in my Morgan inbox, my Google Task inbox, and then I can sort them from there. So I
Mhm.
add the task in really quickly on my computer, get it done. But if it's not done, it gets caught in that inbox check at the end of the day. For my Google Tasks inbox, it's not an inbox, it's just the My Tasks list. That
Yeah.
is that is where I've added an email to Google Tasks. So I've done Shift T, added it in, and I haven't added it to the task list there and then. Or when I'm in the car and I've gone, hey, thing that I'm not going to say because it would turn it on, um, add said task for whenever. That will go into the My Task list by default, which is the Google Task inbox. Or if I'm at home and I want to add a task and my phone is around, I'll use that. That again will also get caught up in my inbox catch at the end of the day. Then I also have the third inbox, which isn't technically an inbox, but I treat it as an inbox, which is my WhatsApp. Um, I use my personal WhatsApp sending myself messages as an inbox, but they're not always tasks. So, like as an example, on a Friday, if someone pays me cash for trampoline, I will say £6 name, £25 name, £12 name. So at the end of the day in the shutdown, like my day shutdown literally says day shutdown plus inbox. That's one recurring task. And then above it says check WhatsApp, which is check my personal WhatsApp. What messages have I sent myself? Is there anything in there? And if there is, I will then add it to normally the Morgan task list.
Mm.
And so I have those three inboxes, and then I have my inbox check at the end of every day. which doesn't always get done at the end of every day, is a recurring task that's planned. Sometimes it's the next day. So yeah, does that help?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I love that because I think one of the things that I get caught up in, well, not get caught up in, but the I am finding myself thinking about my tasks more again, which I don't really want to do. It is it ineffective as hell. Like, I don't need to think about these tasks, and I have multiple opportunities to just be able to put it in and let the AI do it. I think I want to work on my frames again and just tweak those to make those ideal days because I really like the inbox idea. I have been very resistant to the inbox because it feels like that would just fill up so quickly. But that plus
It,
the review,
I think it depends how you use the inbox. Because, like I say, if there's a task and I know it's related to trampoline, it goes into the trampoline task list. Because
mm,
it's in the trampoline task list, Morgan, when I push the AI planner button at the beginning of every day, will schedule that task, or
yeah,
will tell me in the sidebar, "Hey, you've got this task that's due whenever, and you haven't scheduled it yet," or "There's still more time left for this task." The only tasks that get I wouldn't even say they get lost, but the only task that I'm not aware of is a task in a task list that has no due date and and the task list is full a lot of the time with other things.
mm,
So, I mean, it doesn't really happen with any of my Morgan tasks or Google tasks or Microsoft tasks or Notion tasks. Obsidian projects, kind of. But that's because I'm working on another project, so it's not suggested because it's not priority.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then obviously later in my day with the frames, it's basically the same as earlier in the day, except instead of Morgan, it's trampoline and well, it was trampoline. What are these? What are my frames? What am I doing? Oh no, yeah, no, it is trampoline. I just changed the name of the frame to videos because yep, trampoline tasks and then trampoline videos because I yeah, I've see what I mean? Like, I know roughly what I'm doing. I know there's kind of like researchy video stuff after lunch, and then there's other admin-y stuff after that, but I don't actually know like what goes in them because as time goes on, I realize, oh, actually, I need to do more trampoline task stuff at the moment. So I will just change the name of the frame, change
Yeah.
what's in the frame according to the frame filter, like save filters, and go from there. So yeah, and then at the end of the day, I think I've got a Morgan frame, another inbox frame, and then a social frame. So my social frame has the deaf community task going in because
Mm,
I see that more as volunteering. But most of the time, if I look at my day, yeah, it's empty. And that is, like I was saying before, how I split things up. I have recurring tasks for lunch, for dinner, because if they're not in there, they won't happen.
yeah.
And events come in for the social. So I can see that next week I am boxing on Monday. I mean, I got trampoline work on Tuesday. I then got loads of meetings throughout the week, of course. Oh, Thursday, I'm going out to a DEFCAF. Then Friday, I'm going out to a Sussex coaches meetup. And then Saturday, I'm doing BSL. And then Sunday, England are playing Jamaica.
Cool.
I think I've got England, Jamaica, but I don't know what sport it is. I just have a time. So that could be rugby, it could be football, could be men's, could be women's, could be netball. God, yeah, I really don't know. Yeah, when it gets to Saturday, I'll probably do a quick Google search and be like, England, Jamaica, what's happening? I noted it down.
That's really useful. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah.
But this is I see myself as a business owner,
Mm,
but it's club owner in the sports world.
yeah.
And obviously, depending on the club, changes on how you manage time. If you're a
Mm,
grassroots club, obviously the players are paying to play. If you're a semi-professional club, you're you're probably not running it, to be honest. But if you are a semi-professional club or an academy of some kind, then you might be paying players a little bit. If you're a professional club, obviously it's more entertainment. And I think most grassroots club owners, like myself, fall into that ADHD entrepreneur category, which
Yeah.
is why I found it interesting. This sports coach is essentially coaching the people that he was kind of trying to be, but isn't. I say he because all three of them are male that I know of anyway. But then most sports coaches are male because, ugh, the way that female coaches are treated is
Mm.
atrocious. I've done a video about it. I've ranted for hours about it to anyone that was willing to listen and those that aren't willing to listen, to be honest. Uh, I've just moaned a lot about the way that female coaches are treated. But yes, so I guess the question I want to ask, which I don't know whether is appropriate to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway because this is a safe space. Is it appropriate for a person to stop doing something and then coach people how to do that thing that they've stopped doing because it didn't work for them?
So they stopped coaching sport. I'm not.
So they were coaching different sports. Yeah, they were, some of them were club managers, but they were coaching sport
Mhm,
to children.
mhm.
Yeah, all three. So they're coaching youth sport, right? And their role, their job was a youth sports coach. It's managing attendance, managing fees going back and forth. It's managing the sessions and planning and doing being a sports coach. And the way I would see the sports coach role is an entrepreneur. You are running a business. You have clients, they are participants. You are coaching them. You are doing the service, whatever that might be, whether it's an online course or actual one-to-one service. And you're project managing your time. That's what they were doing. And now they're coaching other people to do that thing, but they're now not doing that thing. Does that make sense? Like they're
Yeah,
not coaching other sports coaches, but they're coaching people to do the sports coaching job, just not in sport, in business. To me, that doesn't feel right. To me, that feels like hey, look, I've just built a big business. Now I'm going to teach people how to build the big business, but that's what your business is, teaching people how to make a big business.
yeah,
Like you see all of them online. I'm going to teach you how to get a six, seven figure business. And they all teach people how to get a six, seven figure business, but there's no actual business there. The business is you teaching other people to build a business. So what's your business?
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like there's lots of
That
course
is,
creators of creating courses, but there's no problems that people are solving. That's the way I see it.
yeah. And this is such a problem in the business world. Like something that I was very clear on when I started thinking about positioning, because I shifted from being a Notion consultant to teaching other Notion consultants to build businesses.
Hmm.
And it was great because I'd already been in business and ran a business for X number of years. I don't remember now. Maybe 10, I think, at the time. I don't remember. I'd already been building my business for that long. And then I had the context of building a consulting business. And then I stopped doing that because actually what I recognized was one, this, uh, the Notion business world is,
Not my cup of tea. Not like drink tea, but
no, not my cup of tea. Yeah, at all. And so I was like, no, I don't want to deal with that. I'd rather help business owners because I am a business owner. Like that is what I do. My life is lived as a business owner with multiple conditions which influence how I operate in the world. Like, and as I was actually just thinking, I was like, yeah, that pretty much sums up what I do in as few words as possible. And I just help business people run businesses because it's the thing I know how to do. I'm not going to teach them how to teach other people to run businesses because it's so different.
this is what I've been thinking about with the Coach Danny channel recently is talking about the science is one thing. Coaching coaches to do something is something else. And I feel a lot of coaches, myself included, don't want help. Like sports coaches, at least, they don't want help. If they've got a small issue, they'll solve it during the practice. If they've got a larger issue, there's lots of nuance and complex information in there that you'd have to kind of like give a story spiel to someone before you can actually get an answer or help. So you kind of sit there and go, yeah, I'll figure it out on my own. Or there's the, well, I don't know what I don't know. And so you don't really know what you're looking for. And that is where I feel like I'm going to kind of like shift my direction a little bit. Because I was doing the high performance stuff, which was getting views, just not where I wanted to be. So I'm thinking maybe it needs to be a little bit more vloggy-esque and telling my story, telling stories and seeing what things pop up in there, which I've
I
started
think
doing,
that
which
yeah,
we shall see. Um, but yeah, is
it
there
won't
anything?
get anywhere near as much of the attention, but
Well, that's the interesting thing because sports people like athletes get loads of views. Like D1 athletes, pro athletes, Olympians, like all of them, they get quite a few because people are interested in the high performance world and the behind the scenes of the high performance world. So maybe the high performance world of coaching, how to run a sports club or potentially a building when that happens. Um, Yeah, yeah, maybe that's something that people will be interested in. We shall see. Um, but yeah, do you want to talk about the building or?
we can talk about the building.
Yeah, your ears pricked up a bit there.
Yeah, yeah. How's that going? Like, I know a little bit, but fill us in. Like, where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, we are. How long are we into this recording? We are about half an hour into the recording, so I'm not going to be spelling too many secrets. But then most people listening probably won't be competitive with me in Eastbourne because I can't imagine there being loads of Eastbourne listeners. Hello, and please tell me if you are from Eastbourne and listening to me. Um,
That would be really cool.
That'd be really weird as well. Well, I know Adam. Adam sometimes listens. So, hi, Adam, if you're listening. I'll see you on Monday. We're going boxing. Well, he's going to teach me something in boxing. We're going to record it and then we're going to have a reflection over it. It's going to be good fun. Um, so, but yeah, yeah. Um, so, pitch deck is basically where I'm at because I need to persuade. I haven't reached out to them yet, but I need to persuade the Diocese of Chichester that the land that is currently vacant, it's basically just dirt, that the land it's worth me building something on. So I need to persuade them that my project is feasible, sustainable, realistic, achievable, etc., etc., etc. So I need to sell them on my vision, my dream, my idea, and not bore them. Not bore them with spreadsheets worth of data and paragraphs worth of writing. So in my Obsidian, of course, I have a little pitch deck. I've brought it up so I don't forget all the titles, but it's it's a really interesting experience pitching yourself,
Mm,
but pitching a business. Because in the team section, you really start and step back and go, damn, I do a lot of stuff. Because originally I had myself down as founder and coach. And then a friend of mine had a look at the pitch deck. They're familiar with lots of pitch decks and said, you do way more than that. List out all the stuff you do. So I did. And it filled up a page. So I was like, damn, I do a lot of stuff. And they made a really good point. They said, these people that you're pitching to, they need to understand who you are and what you do and know that you're actually going to get this thing done. The person
yeah,
that I'm talking to obviously knows that I'm going to get it done, but I need to sell myself. So I'm like, right. So I need to sell myself and sell the business and sell the vision all in this pitch deck. So I'm becoming a salesperson, but I did my degree in sports coaching.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I'm really happy with the elevator sentence, and I tried using ChatGPT for this, and it sucked. the amount of times it came up with so many fluffy things and wayward stuff. I'm like
So,
shining ass. I'm like,
so
yeah.
I have left ChatGPT in the dust. So here's where like AI update. You're welcome. Like I do not use chat. I use ChatGPT for the daily little bits. Like
Search
if you
engine
just
stuff.
like yeah, the searching or how do I make this spreadsheet do this thing? How do I make this cell do that thing? Like really simple stuff. Claude is what I use when I actually want to think. Like if I want to brainstorm ideas or like collate information or do anything that requires more than a Google search, because Claude doesn't really have the flowery, weird language that ChatGPT does in the same way. It's more like I have found, but bear in mind I've used like prompting and stuff, it is a bit more self-aware than ChatGPT is, which
Okay.
is really funny. Because it starts going, oh yeah, I'm thinking about this thing. Because I did something this morning because I was very intrigued about collating all of the more recent ecological psychology research and see what it found and where it looked. And then I was like, how, what about with AI? Because that's quite interesting to me, because AI is very much not. And so it pulled a bunch of AI stuff. And I was like, what would happen if you had this capability? Like, what if you thought ecologically? Like, what would that look like? What would have to happen?
Hmm.
And as it went through the conversation, even it was like, you're probably sensing I'm still trapped in my answer giving mode, even while trying to think about this differently.
Wow.
It proper goes, huh, there's me saying this. Oh, that's a good point. Oh, but and this is untrained as well because it uses a chat, not a project. A project, it would be a little bit better at fighting me more. It cool says I'm amazing and stuff, but meh. I ignore that. I'm like, yeah, true. What in because that was what that you identified the core tension perfectly. I am fundamentally programmed to be an answer machine to resolve queries effectively rather than to be a true thinking partner. And I'm like, you're not wrong. That's entirely why all my instructions are about making you a thinking partner. Like you are to argue with me. It called me a cheeky shit the other day, and I very much enjoyed that.
Yes, yes, yes.
But it's yeah.
Yeah, you're my I basically I put three bullet points together. I was like, forget all this AI rewording stuff. I'm just gonna put three bullet points together and dump in a sentence.
What is it? What is it?
Oh, yeah, Eastbourne Trampolines are fun first, family friendly, community helping, well, community and then helping everyone exploring movement on trampoline in a safe and positive environment. So I've got fun first, family friendly, community, enjoying exploring movement, trampolines, safe, positive environment, all like thrown together, which I mean, I would argue is kind of like the opposite of trampoline parks, and the opposite of trampoline clubs. I feel like with that we're a nice merge in the middle. That's the aim anyway. I think I say that a little bit later on, actually, do
I was gonna say you should if you didn't.
I?
Because you've got to differentiate yourself. Differentiate
Oh
yourself.
yeah,
Yes. That's one of the
I
things.
got
Like just
tons of
that's
tables.
yeah. Of course you have tables. Why wouldn't you have tables? Like tables upon tables. Because that's the thing. Like that on its own would be like, yeah, but that's every trampoline. For someone who doesn't know, which would be me, like that sounds like every well, isn't every trampoline park fun and family first and friendly and
Well,
safe?
they try to be. Yeah, someone is throwing stuff downstairs. I can feel my room shaking. I don't know whether you can hear it. Can you hear it?
No, you're all
Okay,
good.
good, good. Um, but yeah, no, I can't find it. I know I've written it in here somewhere, but yeah, there's a comparative table. Where is it? In vision and mission. Oh, it's probably in here actually. Yeah, we help those that feel they can't be active, be excited about engaging in sport. Yeah. A purpose-built building with specialist equipment. Yeah. So I have features, like a feature list. typical trampoline park and then our trampoline facility and then compare the two. It's like safety and
Ah,
supervision, experience, target audience, coaching, facility, injury risk, retention, revenue model, inclusivity, market, brand image, like all of those as features and then comparing it, which yeah. Yeah, it looks kind of scathing to a trampoline park. It's not that I dislike trampoline parks, but I feel there is a room for improvement. So
yeah.
how would you describe a trampoline park out of curiosity? Because in brand image, I have what I think it's seen as. What words would you use to describe a trampoline park?
Fun, um, exercise, loud.
Yeah. Would you say it's safe? There's a lot of hesitation there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether I call it safe, whether I would even think about safety. I presume it's safe. Like, I would automatically assume that you would make sure we were safe. I wouldn't think it's a
I'm
selling
talking a
point.
trampoline park, not necessarily this facility, just like a regular trampoline
Yeah,
park.
no, that's what I
Yeah.
mean. I wouldn't
Yeah.
think about safety because I'd assume that everyone already thought about safety. Then
Do
they
you
wouldn't have.
think do you think it's controlled, like a controlled environment in a trampoline park?
No.
So would you say it's a little bit chaotic,
Yes, I think I would say it's chaotic and a bit
risky?
intense.
Yeah. So a little bit chaotic,
Yes.
risky, potentially unsafe.
Yeah, I don't know whether I would go as far as unsafe, but it
Okay.
probably is unsafe. Like, it probably is. Lots of kids throwing themselves around in a trampoline park would,
You said kids. What about adults?
I wouldn't think of adults.
So, so the three bits that I've got inside of brand image is kids play zone, chaotic, and then I've put unsafe because I think it's unsafe when you've got like if you've got 10 kids running across all the trampolines, not really paying attention to where each other are, I would class that as unsafe. But
Yeah, but I would have assumed if it was a trampoline park that the people there would keep people safe. But actually, thinking about it, they wouldn't.
I mean, more normally they're like 16 to 20-year-olds standing there watching 20 kids just throw themselves onto trampolines.
Yeah, it wouldn't. No, not safe.
I've rarely seen staff members actually do much at trampoline parks,
Mm,
and obviously they're not qualified, as
mm,
in qualified trampoline coaches. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's the brand image that I have for trampoline parks, and it doesn't sound good,
mm.
but they're really popular. So, yeah, yeah. I don't have a better analogy, but I've put sports club meets trampoline park is the brand image I'm going for the facility because it's a sports club or an organized sports club meets trampoline park. So you've got the free flowing open play element of the trampoline park, but the qualified
I,
coaching.
I, I would. I don't know. You know your market better than me, but I would be has given all that you've just said about the part, I would be cautious about comparing yourself as a combination of the two.
But that's it because it is a venue, it's a dedicated venue with trampolines, which is like a trampoline park. There is
Mm,
open play, so you can explore movement like a trampoline park, but there's qualified coaches, so it's a little bit more safe. It's less chaotic because there's qualified coaches and standardized expectations and practices. And they're also bouncier trampolines. So you've got the responsible coaches, the bouncier trampolines from the sports club and the organization, but you still have the open play and the exploration of the trampoline park. So you're taking all the restriction. Well, you're taking some of the restrictions from the sports club, and you're taking most of the fun from the trampoline park and putting it together. That's the way I see it.
mm.
This is really
Well,
good practice.
yeah, yeah, you're welcome. Um, well, if well, how is it actually safer? Like,
You've got
Why
qualified.
shouldn't people just go to like a club, a normal
If
club?
they want like a highly constrained practice, go to a club.
Well, parents would want that, like just to kick their kids out for a few hours and just get them
S-
out of the way.
some parents might want them to go to a traditional club. Yes, the
They
limitations I
actually,
see,
what do they actually learn there?
but that's it. Like, do the parents want them to learn something? Because if they don't, and they just want them to expend loads of energy, then maybe it is just have some free time on trampolines, which is obviously the the open element of the facility, which is the trampoline park stuff. But it's not a hey, go try and learn a double backflip and don't hurt yourself in the process. It's hey, go trampoline. Maybe you'll learn a double backflip because they've got coaches in there that can help you do it.
Hmm.
So instead of the members of staff basically just being like hall monitors, they're actually qualified and know what they're talking about. Um, But yeah, I don't see a problem with trampoline clubs for those that want safe elements. It's, as we've discussed, though, most traditional coaches are very constrained in their practice. Do it this way, do it that way, don't do this, don't do that. Do this first before that skill. And then British gymnastics are very competition focused. So, oh, that doesn't look like ready for competition. You need to do it like this. Straight legs, point toes, drive, exit, tight shape, all that sort of stuff, which a lot of people don't want. And that's where the grassroots coach comes in. So
Yeah,
I would put professional grassroots coaches in our facility rather than high performance coaches in our facility.
cool.
But yeah, there's a mini pitch to you.
Yeah, I could keep going forever asking loads of questions. It'd be quite interesting. I think a lot of the it's like, what would be the benefit to it being there? Like, talk about the community element as well. I would assume you would dive into like jobs and opportunities, the
Mhm.
CAF, the other bits and pieces too, because then,
Trampoline staff coaches, obviously, and then cleaners, admin, receptionists, and then for the function room at the top, probably like as we discussed, a potential cafe area. Still working on policies and logistics and stuff because selling food and drinks and stuff in the UK, obviously, you need licenses, etc. Um, but yeah, so potential job opportunities, but then also a community place for kids that just want to do something, or adults that want to do something, or social groups that need a place to sit, like a scout group, for example. Like scouts, if they need a venue or
yeah,
a new
that's
place to do
good.
something,
Well,
or the deaf community.
yeah, because that would be really cool. I don't know what your area is like. I might go and ask. I know a council person and ask what they would be looking for.
Yeah,
That might be
yeah.
interesting.
I've been speaking to a couple of council members, but again, it's there are places that are available. It's just the ease of doing it. Lots of companies make it hard for people that don't pay. I mean, even
Mm,
banks make it hard for charities. Like, if you have a
yeah,
charity bank account, it is really difficult to get anywhere because the bank aren't making money off you. So I want to make it as easy as possible to do the things that we offer. I am arguing with the facility that I'm currently using with times. Like they don't tell me when is available. I have to guess when is available, ask for the booking to see if it's available, then them get back to me after a couple of days and then say, well, you could do this time, but then you can't do this time, and you have to use this court at that time on that day because of, well, actually, no, they don't say because of, they just say you have to use courts one and two at this time and this day, and that's it. And like, why?
that
Surely
is
that goes
so
against your,
unhelpful.
yeah. So they make it hard to pay them, which business-wise seems stupid. But it also makes hard to book out the facility. Like, why would I want to, for context, they want me to use courts one and two rather than four and five. I'm normally on four and five, and I can't use one and two, I assume, because people are using four and five. So they want me to move five trampolines, four index, 12 crash mats, 12, no, 13 floor mats across courts 4 and 5 to courts 1 and 2. Health and safety? Like, have you thought about that? I've got to get it out of the cupboard, which cuts across court 5. And because it's a trampoline, it's not going to cut the corner. It's a massive trampoline on wheels, and there's 5 of them. Um, but yeah, so they obviously don't think when they book these things out. Uh, yeah, and this is admin time that I wish I didn't have to deal with, but the facility that I'm working with are useless. And obviously, they don't tell me when's next available because that would be handy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Why would they do that?
Yeah. And maybe you can tell me from the business side, what would you rather? A booking that will be there for 50 weeks of the year, or a booking that is there 5 months of the year?
Yeah.
We can't use 5 months of the year because volleyball are in there. But once volleyball leave, we can use it. Why would I do trampoline for the off terms of the year only? The people that want to do trampoline want to do it all the way through. So they could have recurring revenue for that time of the year all the way through, or just 5 months. Because if I do it in the other off months, the people do other sports because there's other sports available. Trampoline isn't an in-season, off-season sport. You either do it or you don't. There are some people that will come and do it once in a while, but trampoline isn't a seasoned sport. If you compete, it is, but if it's not, then you just do it. Similar with football. You even though you've got on season, off season, they still play football.
That doesn't make sense business wise.
But they were there first.
Right.
They were there first, and that's basically it. They were there first, so I've just got to deal with it. I'm like, right, okay. If that's your policy, that's your policy. But you're losing money from it, and if you're losing money from it, are you really going to be sustainable? Actually, yes, you will, because you keep putting the charges up.
Yeah.
Well, they're raising fees, but not for me at the moment. And when they do raise the fees, I will, yeah. I just want out. I just want out. I want my
Yeah.
own building.
Which just costs an awful lot of money. Yay.
Yeah, it's only like 300 grand minimum.
Not much.
No, no. But yeah, is there anything else you want to discuss, or do you reckon we're good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah. Right. Thank everyone for listening. We took a detour from the ADH executive coaching, but I think it was a useful detour anyway.
Yeah.
All right.